Hello everyone. Welcome back to our COBOL series. We will be focusing on the fundamental aspects of COBOL programming, like input, output operation, and data movement. Like these core operations allow COBOL program to receive data from users, process it, and display meaningful result. Whether you are building a business application, financial systems, or a simple program, or understanding the data flow, like this movement is essential for effective programming. Like by mastering this kind of concept, you will be just enhancing the knowledge of COBOL skills, but also enhancing the knowledge that where the data flow is, how the data is been flowing in COBOL. So in this session, we will be just going through that, and just without wasting time, we should move ahead. Okay. Before we deep dive into today's session, I really like to introduce you to programmers.io, where I have privilege of been working as a COBOL developer. Programmer.io is a global software development company that bridges the gap between modern and legacy system. We specialize in technology like COBOL, mainframe, AS400, IBM, help business to ensure that critical systems run seamlessly and integrate with emerging technologies. Like we founded it back in 2012. Like it's been more than a decade that we are working. Like programmers.io has worked with Fortune 500, many of the Fortune 500 companies across the industry to modernize and optimize their IT landscape. Our goal is to show how these powerful platforms can continue to deliver value while adapting to ever evolving business needs. So when you think about COBOL, think about stability, reliability, and proven track record of handling high volume transaction. Exactly what we are at programmers.io survive, support, and enhance. So just this was the brief intro about my company, and I am privileged to be in work here. So just moving towards another slide, like what is the agenda for today? Like what are the things we will be covering today? First of all, we will be just moving through the input and output statement. We'll explore accept and display statement, key tools for interacting with user in COBOL program. Uh, and the second one is data manipulation. We will just move to that. Firstly, we will be discussing initialize and move statement, which are the fundamental for data processing. And then I will be just making you a way through a sample COBOL program to bring back these concepts together. Like we will go walking to a sample program, and I will be running that in our interface for more understanding. Like previously, we have seen a few of the sample codes theoretically, and I have explained you. But today we will be just moving into a practical session. It will be a more practical session than a theoretical session. Then we will just moving through a move variant. We will explore different type of move. Today's simple move, group move, and what are and the most important, I think for me, the most important part of the session is the best practices. Like we will be wrap upping and discussing the best practices for input and output method in the data movement also. By the end of the session, we will be having a comprised understanding of how the data has been managed in this and what is the data flow for the user interaction within the COBOL application. So yeah, that was the agenda for the day. Firstly, moving with input and output statements, like what input and output statement does that they are used to transfer the data from program's internal storage and to the external and output devices. So we have two input and output statements in that. First is accept and another is display. So we will be starting with accept statement. Like it is an input statement, input verb we can say, which is an accept. So the accept statement is a critical tool in COBOL for gathering input from the user at the runtime. Unlike static and hard-coded values, accept make your program more interactive and flexible, allowing it to adapt to the user input for the instance. Like in banking systems, you might use accept to capture a customer's account number or transaction detail, because every time a customer will be having new and unique transaction details. However, with a great flexibility and comes with a great responsibility, user input can be unpredictable. So it's important to validate the data before we use. Like this ensure the proper format expected, enter in our system and reduce errors and potential data corruption. Like, think about what we might happen if the user enters letter into date field expecting numbers such as account balance. How would you handle this? These are the user input validation technique comes into play and helping us enduring data and integrity for that. We'll be discussing that how it is properly working and how we should do the best practices for that. So basically, if we talk about in simple terms, we talk about accept. What accepted was what accept is like basically it takes the data from the user and give to the backend program rather than just hard coding the value. Like I have also explained the banking example. Okay, also if you are not relevant with that, just take an example of Burger King or McD. Like we usually visit to them. Like every time if they have the same order in their record and they will be just giving you the same order, will you accept that? Obviously, no, I won't accept that. Yeah. If I want to eat another burger, and they are giving another rubber. Why will I accept that? So that is the thing. Like it should be on the run time. When the program has been running, I want like there are 10 burger choices. If I want the eighth one, so I will be adding that to eighth one. If I want the second one, I want the second one. It is not pre-recorded that they have entered the fifth one and you will be always getting the fifth. That is not correct. And that is not the procedure also. Even no one will be accepting that. Okay. So if we talk about the syntax, like it is shown in the image also, accept variable dot. Like this is the syntax for accept statement. Like write accept and the variable name with a period, moving with the period, and just this will be accepting a value from the runtime and we are writing that. And for a practical example, accept WS name and a period like period at this, I'm again saying period. The before lecture, I haven't mentioned period sign. I used to say a dot, something like a full stop. I used to say like this, but now I'm correctly mentioning period. What period is like it refers to ending a statement. Okay. What statement is? We have went through into session two that what statements are. Oh, in session one, what statements are like the hierarchy. Remember the hierarchy? The okay, program, division, the okay. I think you got that. So what is a period? The sentence statement should be ending with a period only. So yeah, just moving to another thing, like we discussed about input and output. Input part we have discussed. Now we are studying about output part, which is a display. The statement is used to present the output to the user. Like whatever you are showing prompts, results of calculation or confirmation message, like display helps you to communicate effectively. Like what this statement, display statement, statement allow you to guide you through the user application, like making this interactive, more interactive, this process more effective. Like a useful feature of displays without noise filtering, which keeps the cursor on the same line. Okay. Like this can be especially about handling out prompts and data unexpected from user at the time of movement. What display does, like what is the thing that you have written or what is the value you have passed from the program, it will be already displaying on the output screen. Uh, when we were starting with the lecture, I told you few things about that. Like COBOL is a very self-introductory language. So many of you won't get that time. But when I talk about accept, what accept means to take, and in this COBOL, accept is doing the same thing, taking the input, accepting the input, what we say. And if we talk about display, what display means to just give the output in the screen. And what display do is doing the same. The same introductory language. By the name only, you can get that the function would be. You have a basic rough idea that what a function is. That's why COBOL is a self-introductory language. And we doesn't need much introduction about what the things are. Just need the introduction of the files, the system and the flow about it and how we use the things. Okay, are you getting that? Yeah. So that is the thing. Now just you got the display. I was just walking you through to a sample program, like to demonstrate that how the things work in that. Like basically, you are seeing the identification division, which declare the program name. while the I told you that data division held the variable declaration and everything. I have not declared variable declaration. Why? Because I am just displaying a sentence in that. And what's the reason we display the include the main logic of that in which we are just displaying the statement. For that, the display statement is used. So don't get worried. This is not the theoretical session. The intro only I told you that this would be a practical session. So just move ahead to just run this on the our system. Okay. So if I just give a brief intro what system we are using, we are just compiling this code on the VS Code and you do the full step on the VS Code. And if you ask me that is COBOL is sufficient to get compiled on the mainframe systems and the other systems, so I will say yes, COBOL can compile itself, but a mediator needed to be compiled is called JCL or Job Control Language. We'll be just discussing about brief about it. Yeah, we'll be just discussing a brief about it when we are moving to. Let me just walk you through the program. Then we'll be just moving towards that. Okay. So just first moving towards the identification division, the program ID, the head of the family identification division. Then there is a program ID, and then I have written the program name. What is the program name? Usually for best practices, what we do is we make the same name of the program and same name for the file that we have made. PGM1, PGM1. So it is easy to identify. Then the process division, which is displaying the hello world, executing my first program in COBOL. Like in the second lecture, I introduced with comment, but I haven't shown the practical example of it. So this is the practical example. Like you can see a hashtag I made. This is my first program. How the compiler will be treating this? The compiler will be ignoring this completely. The sentence would be ignored by the compiler directly. And then the stop run to stop the flow of the program. So just let's compile that. So this is the JCL which I talked about, which is used to like JCL like like if we talk about in simple terms, like before moving towards the sample code or sample program for that, it is important to understand a brief about JCL or what is the full form of that job control language. Like JCL act as an intermediate between COBOL programs and the mainframe operating system. Essentially, it defines how your program will run, what resource it need, how to handle the input and the output. Think of the JCL as a script that is needed up for the stage of for COBOL. Like while today's session we will be focusing on COBOL only. Like we have a dedicated lectures on JCL. Will be will be coming in future, and we will be discussing about more in detail and in depth about what JCL is, how they are working. So for now, just to know that JCL is a critical for managing COBOL job execution on mainframe. On the same YouTube channel, you will be getting the lectures of JCL. So stay tuned with us. As of now, just understand that it is an intermediate, like which helps to compile the program, COBOL program. So yeah, just moving ahead with that. We have been using program one. I need to change here also program one. We save it. I'm just submitting it. Submit a JCL. Yes, I want to submit it. Like if you are seeing CC, like it is triple zero. What is CC? Like in JCL, it would be I will be explaining in detail, but here I'm just giving you overview of that. Like it is 0, 0, it means there is no error. 0 to 4, like it is a level parameter. If we talk about 0 to 4, it is okay. Greater than 4, it will be coming, it is like 12, 8. So that is like some error. There is some error in our program. We need to fix that. Program in our JCL. So we need to fix that. That is the indication of that. So there are two JCL basically, for one for compiling and another for executing. So we are just running the execution JCL. It is too simple. Submit a JCL. Submit 307. Yeah, we have the output within us with us. Stop me. Yeah. Hello world, executing my first COBOL program. So let me take here in the front. Yeah. What I did, I wrote in the display in the double quotes, hello world, comma, executing first program. Hello world, executing my first program. So this line is completely ignored. And if there would be error, there would be an error. Like, just let me ignore this. Put the yeah, unexpected error, unexpected tokens ignored. Like something is being ignored. If I put here also, there would be like something has been ignored. And if I just put a asterisk, it doesn't matter where I put it from distance to that. Like it is an entire line is a comment. And I also told you when we were just putting that like the first starting six, 1 to 6 are used for tag and something like that. So when we can just also write 1000. And yeah, I also told you that identification division should be on the seventh line, eighth character for that eighth line. So if you move in the identification division must begin in area A. Where the area is, it is 8 to 12. So it should be, if it is in 12th position, it is okay, but it should be in ideally on the 8th position. Am I correct? And not clear to you? So these are zeros are what they are. They are just tag. And like this is a 5 line or 6 line simple program. But if we are compiling a big program, which is have 15 line, 20, 15,000 to 10,000, 5,000 lines. So at the time, it is difficult to understand that where we are just copied the things and where we are just copying it back. At that time, we use this text to tag to identify tag to identify where the code has been written and where we have made the changes. Okay, I think that it is good for you. Let us just move a sample program two. Like I have wrote a sample program two for like increasing difficulty and just knowing that. Okay, we also seen this example in the same in the image that I was there. Same identification division, same will be same in the every program. Then program ID pgm2 dot author. Who is author? PIO. Like I've entered like for this. We can also comment it or we can also there. It is not a mandatory. But program ID and identification division are mandatory. Like in the before program, I haven't entered the data division because why? There were no variable to be declared. But what if there are variable to declare? So just introduce it. And if you want to write, just write data division working storage section into that. And from the next line, start with procedure division. It doesn't matter. It won't be compiling. But if there is no, why would we write like haven't put environment division? Many of you would be thinking that we have talked about 4 division, but in the example there are only 3 divisions. The one division is missing. So why is it is missing? Because it is not necessary. The environment division also only give us that if there is any file input or output, something like that. Here there is no file input or output. I am not using any files for that. So it is not necessary for me to just put the environment division here. It is okay if I am also working with without an environment division. I think now I am clear to you. Okay. So just briefing you towards the code of that, and then we'll be compiling that. So let me off this. It would be helpful. So it's so a data division that there we have working storage section and we have made the group variable which is ws var. We have just make it ws var. Start from ws where what I have done this indentation when we were working for. Let's save that. Yeah. So this is 01 ws variable is a group variable, and then under that I just told you to with it we just store the level number with another level increasing with 01. So it will be 05 ws where one pick of x of 5, like there would be some word alphanumeric sentence which is of 5 characters. So it is hello. And same for variable 2. Some alphanumeric character can be of 5 characters. Hello world. The procedure division, I believe that's writing. I've written simple display message 1, which is variable 1, display message 2, variable 2. Why I've written that in quotes? Because it is a message should be directly displayed. And why they are out of quotes? Because these are the variable names that I have been using or I want to use in my program. So that's why I've put them out of the course and that. I think now it is okay to you. Okay. So just now moving another, seeing the output of that, moving to the compiling JCL. Like it is PGM2, so I have to change here PGM2, PGM2. Just let me save and of this Windows. That will be making a confusion at the end. Okay, every time you just submit a JCL, a job is submitted. For JCL job control language, the job is submitted. When maxis is 00, like no error in the program. No. Simple display programs. Just compiling it again for the executing one. And we will see. Yeah, it is 309. Yeah, 309. Max is 00. So just we will be having it output and see out. Sys out. Sorry. Like message one, hello world. Message two, message one, hello. Message two, world. That is the what we were expecting. So right, we were on the right track. I hope you got that very clearly, very simply. Like this was the example for that. Okay. Just moving ahead with the presentation that we have. Like now we will just put in that what is data manipulation in that. Yeah. Now we'll know what is data manipulation in AI. Like we are using our data manipulation. The first verb we are using, it is the initialize verb. The initial, what the initialize statement does, that it resets the data item to their default values, like which we can be useful in the beginning of transaction or process. Like any word is useful in the beginning of transaction or process, but at the end you need to reset it or reset it or reuse it. So the program should be making a value to set 0 for numeric and spaces for the alphanumeric or alphabetic. So like while command initialize can introduce performs overridden in system. Like when we are working on a large system, it is always necessary to initialize the bar when we are using again and again. Like take an example of a supermarket. Like with the example, I am good at explaining things. So I'm just taking an example. Like if we take an example, practical example for that, if you visit a supermarket, you have added 10 things in the cart, you have made the bill, the cashier has given you the bill, you have been increased, you have just gone to the transaction, you have done the transaction, you have made the payment, and you went out of the supermarket. Then another person comes. Now he is entering the details. It is giving from 11th number. So he sees, oh, I forgot to add I reset the previous one, 10 transactions. So why he need to remove that? It is our job to reset the rest of the things if a transaction or a program is completed or if a new transaction is again generated. So the what the ideal case should be that when the second person which moves, so it should be again 0, starting from 1. It should won't be start from the 11. That is why the initialize is important and that comes into the picture. Like simply you can just only move 0 to the numeric places and spaces to the alphanumeric or alphabetical places, but there should be a verb like should like simply initialized and the variable name and a period will be the word will be completely initialized. So I think it is more simple for every one of us. Just moving towards an example for that. I think I wrote example 3 for that. Mm, yeah, I wrote so cases getting a view towards move also, then we will just jumping towards an example of it. Like move is also a data manipulation only. Like move statement is like bread and butter of COBOL data manipulation. Like it transfers from one variable to another variable, making it fundamentally like fundamental for processing and calculation. When we use move, it is important to consider data to avoid the unexpected result or truncation of variable, which is what we keep into mind that if we are moving from one sentence to another sentence, it should be the data type should be equal. Like if we talk about move, there are 4 types of move: simple, group move, move corresponding, and move reference modification. So starting from the simple move, what simple move does, like sending a value from one character or one variable to another variable. Like I have made a sending variable name word variable. So if you I want to transfer from sending variable to receiving variable, so what I will be doing, simply writing a move ws hyphen sending dash variable to ws hyphen receiving variable. So this is the simply function of move, to just transfer from one function to another one variable to another variable, just to move it. But there are some things to we just need to keep in mind. Just we will be discussing with the practical example now. It would be more easy for you. Just first taking the example of move, that how move works, and then we will be discussing how the initialize that we left out. Like this is a 0 1 level, like, and 0 5 0 0 level 3. I have three characters. Like I have assigned I have used value clause in this. Like I have assigned 9 of 4 value 2561. Absolutely correct. Four characters assigned, four character used. But in WS where to I have declared six characters, and in variable 3 I have declared only two characters. And what I am doing, I am doing from move WS variable 1 to variable 2. What is the value of variable 1? It should be moved to variable 2. Yeah, it can be. Why it cannot be? From if from lower quantity to higher quantity, it can move directly. But from higher quantity to lower quantity, it would be a tricky thing. Like I will be showing you what happens in that. And like will it give an error? Will it be get the value get will be truncated? Portable casing will be discussing it. For of now, just see that what we have done. We have just moved the value of variable 1 to variable 2 and variable 1 to variable 3. Okay. And then we have displayed all three variables. Simple. So just compiling let me just change the name here. What is the name? It is PGM3. Just correcting, changing the name here also PGM3. Saving it, uh, compiling it. So the latest one is 10th one. XCC4. Yeah, no error in that. Now we'll be just putting the execute one. Like it was third one. Yeah, it's third one. Sorry about that. Submitting SJCL submit. Yeah, it's good job got submitted. And we have our result now. So tick tick. Just think the result in your mind. I think it is not that much tricky, but yeah. So the COBOL doesn't give an error. First thing I want to let you know that COBOL reads the data from right to left. And when we are talking, just let me put the code example there. So like when we are talking about the value, which is, yeah, when we are just putting the value together, which is 2561 for the variable one, it is same value 2561. So it printed the value 2561. And we were talking from a big data type, from small to big data type. Like it was 4, then we are transferring that to 6. Just answer that, understand that by transferring that. It is transferring of data. So it is 002561. We have transferred that successfully. And if we talk about a variable 3, like it was lesser than 2, it was not 4. So it won't be would be handle the entire number 2561. So what it will be reading from right. Like one, it would be reading 1. Yeah, done. Then it would be reading 6. Done. Then the capacity is been not there for reading. So just we need to, it would be printing 61. We're not throwing any error for that. Now it is clear to you. It won't be throwing any error in that. Now, I think it is clear to all of you why it is not throwing an error. Okay. So this is the function of move. Just we had talked about that. And then now just see this example and take that in your mind if you want to say anything. Okay. So move is another example. This is not basically an example of directly move. It is been also we are using also move in that and also initialize word like WS name, gender, and we have entered a filler in that, and then we have entered WS student. We have which is a variable which is of 9 of 8, and then again have a filler which is a value. So what we have done, we have moved all to hyphen to WS where. Like this is then group element. Like this is an example also of group move, but we are just will be explaining you the what group move is. Like when we move the entire value of group to another group. Like group allowed you to multiple related field together. Like we have made a bunch of things and we are transferring from value from one bunch to another bunch. We will just taking proper example for that. But just seeing the example of that. Move all, and we have moved hyphen to WS bar. So the hyphen will be on the subordinates of that. And then we have displayed the value for that. And then what we have initialized WS VAR. Okay. And then after that, we have also printed the value of it. Then simple stop them. Okay. I think you got that. Just let me compile this program and show you what result is. And if the question is coming, what is filler? So filler is nothing. It is a just blank space or something like that. We enter to complete the space or something like that in the program. It is PGM4. So it's right. PGM4. So yeah. I don't think as that is a hectic process. What is JCL? What is COBOL? Don't take like in the COBOL also when we were starting, many of you would have feel that how I will run this, but with time, gradually learning and revising the concept, you get the things right. Yeah, and we would be getting the things. And if you are not getting it, we will be getting in the further lectures and when we are moving this, revise that concept and you just getting that. So same for the thing. Like in the starting, like I don't know who said that, but some of the people have said that but the beginning is the hardest. So the beginning is the hardest. At the starting, it feels very hard, but when you get the habitual of it, it is a bit simple process. Okay, so submitting as you see here, submitting it. Yes, no error in the just opening the execute one fourth, saving that, submit as JCL, submit, putting the yeah, okay. So what 25 24 before initialize what the move did, we have transferred hyphen into the every places. So it is hyphen in every places. And then what we are seeing here, there are hyphen in some places, then not hyphen in some places, but there in again hyphen, there is zero, then again what is I think initialize has haven't did their work properly. Isn't it? You don't think the same? That initialize is not doing the work properly? No, here we are wrong. Here we need to catch something. Like we have used filler in that. The first point to be noted, like when I told you that we can pass the value, but we can't directly initialize a filler. It would be having a value in that only. So like 25, like 25 would be, there are 25 spaces, like because it got initialized and there is 5 in the filler. Yeah, it is 5. So it would be 5 hyphen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 hyphens in that. Then we have 0. Why we have zeros? Because we have declared this were why there is spaces because we I taught you that when we will be initializing any alphanumeric or alphabetic variable, it would be just putting space in that. And if we are initializing any uh, numeric sorry, so any numeric data type, it would be passing zeros to that. So on the eighth position, it is the 8 0. There would be 8 zeros. And under then what is the one hyphen there? Harshit, I can see the one hyphen there. What is this one hyphen? So what this? So what this one hyphen is doing, just let me just give me a minute. Now just click this something and okay, yeah. And what this one hyphen is doing in end, why? Because there is no something and like see 05 filler WX01. There was one alphanumeric filler also in the end. So that's why it was behaving like this. I hope you got that correct. Okay. Just see a program once to put that in your eyes, how the initialized work and how the things will work in that. So see that once and then we'll move forward. Okay. So yeah, moving forward with the group move. What is group move? Like group move allow you to move the multiple field related together. For an example, when we are transferring an entire customer record, including name, age, balance, one from one structure to another, this simply complex task will transfer everything by the line by line. There are 50 variables for that. So we need to write 50 times move. But if there is any group variable like customer record and it has 50 subordinate of that, so we'll be just initializing or we'll be just moving the value from customer record to another customer record. Okay. I think you are correct with that. You are on and we are on the same page. And now what is move correspond in that? So what is move? It is used to move the data between two groups, like who are elementary and not same in the same order. So that are been used with move corresponding. Like both the should have sameness or something like that. And we used to transfer the elementary thing in that. So that's then we use corresponding move. And move restaurant modification is it is a simple move, but we are doing in the parts form. Like we are just moving like if in this example, I just hmm, no, that was it was an example. I think third one. Yeah. So if this I just don't want the all four characters in that. I just want only two of the characters, which are 2 and 5. So I'll be just writing with the reference move with the reference modification. What I will be writing here, like this is the starting position and this is the variable we need to capture. Like if you see the reference like W move country code to this. And this is the first thing is from where you need to start. That is starting point. Colon from how many characters you need in that. So there is two written. If I have written there too, so it would be getting the 25 for me. And if I need 61, so I would be writing 3 to 4, 5. Oh, sorry, from I would be writing 3 and I would be writing 2 because I need only two numbers. Starting from 3, I need two numbers. I will be taking an example. We'll be just moving a reference modification in depth for an example also. Okay, so just for of now, we are just taking an example of group move. What is group move and how we are can move forward with that. So just taking an example of group move, like I have explained the identification division, same program name, program ID, the name of program, author, data division working. So in group one, we have what is the name of group one? Num value is 1, and another variable which is an alphanumeric value 10, which is written PIO Harshit, and 0 1 another value which is WS group 2, and the value of there is no value assigned to it, and for 2 there is no value assigned to it. And what we are moving, we are just putting the group value of group 1 into group 2. So what we will write, move group 1 to group 2 directly with ending with a period, display the value of group 1, display the value of group 2. Are we on the same page, guys? I think we are on the same page. So just it would be a simple example of group move, like moving of one group to another group. Like this is a group which has a group element, it's starting with 0 1, and then subordinate of that. So I am just, if I want to move this, I can also move this like num1 to num2, num2, num2 name, but it would taking a lot of time. So I'm just moving group to another group directly, which is possible. But what is the condition for that? For moving that, we should be, if you want to accurately moving, so we want proper naming data type and data levels in that. We don't want that it is more or less something like that. Okay. I think it is clear to you. It is program fifth, I think. Yeah. So let me clear this. So, and PGM5. Mm, Here also PGM5. Let me just save it and compile it. Report got executed. 5. Just submitting as ACL. 3 we have 3 now. Okay, just seeing the output of it. Hmm. What was in the first group? Like we have moved from one group to another group. WS group colon 01 PIO Harshit. WS01 PIO Harshit. What it has done, like I have put the value only one, but it was of two characters, so it has put the value in the starting of that, which is 0. And then it has written PIO Harshit 01. Yeah, that is correct. I think this is correct to you. And the concepts are clear to you, every concept you have talked about. If it is not clear, just revisit the video again. Slowly take the example. Like when I am explaining, go with me. Just pause the video. Go with the example that what I am explaining and what you are explaining. Before I compile the code or show you the result, think in your mind that what result should be coming in that. Like it would be helping you to making the imagination more powerful. Okay. And I have also done this trick, really. Mhm. So just moving to the last of the like we have discussed this. We're just moving to the last part of the session. Best practices for input and output data movement. Like what we use to create effective and user friendly COBOL programs. Like these are the steps I have written. I have just populated from my experience and wrote it here. Like validating user input. Ensure that data matches expected format. Like the data should be matching the expected format. It is not matching the group, same data type, the data would be overflow and something like that. Provide clear prompts, like using meaningful messages always. So the user get what we are using message. Adding comment in the code. Minimum data moves. Like, avoid unnecessary data moves. Like we should not avoid always move the value without any use. Move the value when it is used, because unnecessary data moves, it can be cause a confusion for that for everyone. Use group, like if you are using group use that wisely, because the structure of entire group should be matched. If it is one thing is mismatched, the entire move will be disturbed. So plan data initialization, like consider uh, performance implementation. When large data has been given into, you will need to initialize that. Always use an initialize when you are starting the program. So these are will be helping you. These things I have been taken up from my experience. That what I think. And why every time why I am just putting the best practices or input output data movement at the end of everything best practice, because it would help you to become a good coder of COBOL. That why we are writing COBOL, how we are writing COBOL. That would help you in this. So that why I am just putting that into the picture. Coding example of, like we have performed that coding example of move operations already. So yeah, just, so just a quick recap that what we have learned in that. Firstly, we just move through towards the accept and displacement, the input output statement. Then we move to the manipulation, which is the initialize and move statement for managing data. Then we went to the move variant, simple group operation, how we transfer, and then we just moved to the best practices of the program. And then also some coding example. We just went to the coding example in that. So that was all from my side. Thank you guys for joining. I hope you find this session more insightful. Stay tuned for more COBOL topics. We will be just we will be just continue with exploring more this powerful language and more about this language, how this is working and everything. So just stay tuned with us for that. And which is delivering the quality content. Thank you. Thank you from whole PIO team. Thank you.